Hello there. Now imagine if you woke up one morning to find that your house didn't belong to you anymore and that the title deeds proved it. Or you come back from holiday to find that your house has been sold and someone else has moved in. What if you suddenly found yourself liable for a huge mortgage that you didn't apply for? Think it couldn't happen? It can. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello, and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that the older generation still matters and has relevance, and which looks at issues that matter to the older generation. Now, is it really possible for your home to be sold out from under you and the first thing you know about it is when someone tries to move in? Well, yes it is, and it's a nasty, horrible scam that's been around for a decade at least, and which generally targets older people, rental properties and homes that have been empty for a while. Let me tell you about two cases and then we'll look at steps you can take to protect yourself from this mean and dreadfully callous fraud. The first is from 2016, when an estate agent saw her elderly father's house, which was valued at £500,000, was up for sale on Rightmove by auction. Of course, she immediately contacted her dad and asked him if he was selling and why he was selling. As you probably guessed, he knew nothing about it. A check with the land registry found that his name had been replaced with someone else's. Now, the criminals in this case, Saeed Ghani and Atif Mahmood, were caught and they've served jail time. Ghani got 7.5 years and Mahmood just under 3. But how did it happen? Well, in this instance, the scammers stole mail from his mailbox, which was at the end of his driveway, and they found enough documentation there to be able to pose as the homeowner, forge his signature, and authorise the change of details, transferring the deeds into Ghani's name. Now, selling by auction was a clever move too, because it meant that prospective buyers had no time to view the property first. It might have led them to discovering the fraud, maybe by meeting the real owner. What a shame it didn't happen. But how lucky it was that his estate agent daughter was on the ball. Now, two big lessons to be learned from this case. Firstly, if your mailbox is placed somewhere vulnerable, such as on your gate or an outside wall, then for goodness sake make sure it's securely fitted and locked. And secondly, if you throw away any bills or personal documents, then please shred or deface them so that personal data can't be retrieved. And identity thieves will often check people's rubbish for paperwork they can use. Now, the second example happened in 2021. While the Reverend Mike Hall was away, he was alerted that strangers were renovating his house. And he returned to find that someone had purchased the property and had stripped everything. All his possessions had been stripped out and had gone. The man he found there was legally recognised as the owner, which left Mr. Hall in a distressing legal battle to reclaim his home. Now, in this case, the scammers had exploited vulnerabilities in the property transaction system by stealing his identity and using a fake driving licence to set up a bank account in his name, and that facilitated the sale. Now, eventually, the land registry finally put his name back on the deeds, but the house by then had been left unoccupied for 4 months because the guy that had bought it had gone. And that was when he went back to take possession of it and found squatters had moved in. And it took him another 4 years to get a county court to grant him full possession of his home. Now, according to the land registry, from 24 to 25, they received nearly 4.5 million applications to create or update the land register. Of those 4.5 million, 86 were identified as fraudulent. Now, you might not think that's enough to worry about. The risk seems very small, but it's like saying, because there have only been 10 burglaries in my town in a year, I won't bother to lock my doors anymore. I mean, that would be totally absurd. You might not think it's worth worrying about, and it isn't, until it happens to you. Now, the land registry says that between 2020 and 25, they prevented £194 million worth of fraudulent transactions. So what can you do about this? What can you do that will help you sleep better at night? Well, the first thing to do is to sign up to the Land Registry's Property Alert Scheme. Now, I signed up to this about 10 years ago after hearing about that first case. Property Alert constantly monitors activity on the register, and if it detects any activity, it alerts the owner. It could be someone applying for a mortgage on the property, or trying to change the title deeds of a house, or a house being significantly undervalued. And once the owner is alerted, he can do something about it. The scheme doesn't prevent the fraud, but it does enable you to take action. For example, Land Registry says they received an application to transfer ownership of a bungalow with a value significantly below the average for the area. The owners were notified, and on visiting the property discovered the locks had been changed and a for sale sign put up. They got in touch with the registry, who cancelled the transfer of ownership. In another example, they received an application to register a mortgage on a house, but when the owner, who didn't live in the property, so they hadn't had a mortgage, they hadn't made a mortgage application, the Land Registry immediately cancelled it. Now, I get several emails a year from the scheme to tell me that no activity has been detected, and I can't tell you how much peace of mind that brings. It really does. Now, you can also instruct your solicitor to tell the Land Registry that all matters relating to the property must come through him and him alone, or her of course, and that any applications or interest in the property should be referred back to him before any applications or actions are completed. Now, estate agents too have a role to play by diligently establishing that their clients are genuine, by applying rigorous identity checks, and if properly carried out, those checks can help to reduce the risk of scams and frauds. But having said that, I wouldn't want that responsibility, not with AI probably helping the criminals. How could you tell? And finally, the Land Registry does have a compensation scheme should you fall victim to these scammers. This is shocking. That's it for this edition. Have you signed up to the Property Alert Scheme? You should do, really. It's free and you can join via the Land Registry's website, and I'll leave a link in the description. Have any of you, God forbid, ever been a victim of property fraud? Have you already signed up to the alert scheme? Do let us know, please. And if you like this video, please share it, give it a big fat thumbs up, and of course subscribe if you want to, and if you want more. And don't forget, you can also join the channel as a member. Just hit the button below the video, and don't forget there are 2 physical perks on top of what's shown when you sign up. Again, full details in the description. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining us, and until the next time here on Grey Matters, it's bye for now.